Hello, I'm Mr. Hebert. I'm the head of English here at Nottingham High School. I'm here to talk to you about A-level English literature. Okay, again, you've been taking literature probably up to this point at GCSE, and A-level English literature is a natural, it's the next point, shall we say, in your journey through exploring the written text. Obviously, the one thing I would say to you about taking A-level English literature is this is a course where you need to love to read. Okay, if you love to read, you love to think about what you read and argue and discuss what you read with other people, this is the course for you. Now, the course you're going to be taking here at the high school is a course that really emphasizes reading a wide variety of texts. Okay, it basically breaks down into three sections. There are two examination papers and a coursework unit. The first examination paper is focused primarily on the literature of the 17th century. That's the 1600s to you and me. Okay, this is where you study your Shakespeare. Okay, we're currently studying Measure for Measure, which is a lovely, fantastic play set in a decadent Vienna. Okay, featuring all sorts of problems with power and sexuality. There, I've sold you on it already. Okay, you'll also be looking at a portion of John Milton's epic poem Paradise Lost, books 9 and 10, of the story of Adam and Eve and the fall from grace. And you'll also be looking at a play by John Webster called The Duchess of Malfi, which is set in a corrupt, vicious, villainous Italian court featuring all sorts of depravity. So if that hasn't hooked you in already, I don't know what will. Okay, in terms of your examination, what you're asked to do is you answer a couple of questions on the Shakespeare text, and then with Paradise Lost and The Duchess of Malfi, you get what's called a synoptic question. They'll ask you a question about a theme or an idea, and with reference to these texts and other texts that you've studied from the period, you can pronounce your own sort of opinions and judgments and analyses of what's going on in these books. For the second examination paper, we shift our attention to 20th century America. Okay, your two key texts here are going to be The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, okay, and The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. Now, these are looking kind of at two sides of the American dream. With The Great Gatsby, it's a tale that's set in 1920s jazz age New York, okay, amongst the decadent rich with all their kind of materialism and depravity. On the other hand, John Steinbeck, he's writing The Grapes of Wrath in the 1930s during the Great Depression, when the bottom has seemingly fallen out of the American economy. He's setting it amongst the poor in the West, as a group of Okies from Oklahoma travel across the country to California to try and get their lives back on track. Okay, again, like the first paper, you get a question that looks at an example of American literature, asks you to analyze it, and then there's another synoptic question, where you take your knowledge of Joyce, or you take your knowledge of Steinbeck, and you're able to pronounce some of the great themes or ideas in American literature. For both papers, we encourage you to read beyond the set texts, okay, to be able to, fit authors and to fit their work into the context in which they're written. So again, this is a course that really encourages you to read widely. Beyond, obviously, the examinations, there's coursework, okay? The coursework here consists of two parts. First of all is a piece of what we call tight analysis. So currently at the moment, we're teaching Seamus Heaney's book of poetry called District and Circle. You'll select one of the poems from District and Circle and do a sort of a tight analysis on the poem itself. It's a short, focused piece where you look at the poem, what does it mean, how are effects and meanings created, and how does it link to the wider collection. Your second piece of coursework, we teach you two texts for this. We teach you A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce, and we also teach you the seminal 1950s British drama Look Back in Anger by John Osborne. Both of them are looking at the idea of the angry young man, the young man that doesn't fit in, the young person that isn't really comfortable in their society. And again, you produce an essay where you compare these pieces, looking at a key theme, a key element, a key idea that links the two texts together. In both cases with your coursework, you'll be negotiating titles with your English teacher. Okay, you take kind of control and ownership of your coursework. We don't assign you what to do. You come to us and say, here's my idea, and we help you work your way through it. Coursework is 20%, the examinations are 40% each. So again, it's a very simple course, okay, in terms of its structure. It won't be too complicated, you won't get too lost in it. Why take English literature? Well, as I said, because you love reading. But beyond that, of course, is where English literature can take you. First of all, if you are thinking of taking English at university, English literature is the course you want to take. It's the one that ties in, it's the one that university courses recognise. But of course, it's a course that ties in very, very nicely with a huge range of careers. It's the type of course that will help you express yourself fluently, confidently. It helps you develop your skills of developing an argument. Okay, being able to have a case, marshal your evidence, and communicate to your reader what you want. So you can think of all different sorts of elements here that you can use in your future life. Again, we've had graduates from English literature go on to study English literature at university, but also a huge variety of subjects where good performance in English literature ties in quite nicely with the elements of communication in courses in the sciences, in medicine, in engineering, and so on. The final little aspect I'll just flag up at the moment that could also appeal to you if you're taking English literature is what we call the Arts Society. Now at the moment we're in COVID restrictions and it's not running because the theatres are all closed. But on that grand and glorious day when we come out of lockdown, historically what we've done as a school is we've offered students subsidised tickets to any production and performance that is coming through Nottingham. Okay, the Arts Society is run by a former head of English. He gets access to the Theatre Royal, to the Nottingham Playhouse and other venues in the city where he gets you a ticket, £5 a performance, where you can go and see plays, musicals, ballet, classical concerts, recitals, and so on. Again, this ties in quite nicely with English literature because on occasions we've been able to actually go and see stage productions of some of the texts that we've been studying, but also helps in terms of your applications to university. It gives you a hinterland in terms of some of the things you can talk about in terms of your interviews that will help you if you're particularly going down a literary or cultural route at university. So again, once lockdown eases up, we hope to be reintroducing that program for you, and that will complement your studies very, very well. So again, English literature, if you love reading, if you love thinking, if you love arguing, if you love debating, this is a subject for you.
The thing I like most is that although we're studying text, we still get to study the historical and political context of what we're studying. I don't think I have one particular favourite lesson. I like all of them because they're very discussion-led rather than a teacher just saying stuff to the class. It's more like everyone has an opinion and they bring it to the table. I guess how much I enjoyed it really. Of course we have the library, which is available for all years, but also the English office has a storeroom full of books and they're always ready available for you to take if you just ask a teacher. All the teachers are really nice and they're always ready to help you even outside of lesson time. In the lesson they're really supportive, but if you have a question they're always available and friendly and ready to help you. So we'll be studying a text and we just sort of read it and everyone brings their ideas towards the table and then we link it and we sort of style it more towards the exam questions, so whether that's more based on historical context of the book or whether we're close and analysing it. I think we get a reasonable amount, but the good thing is that they're really varied, so sometimes it will just be reading a little bit of work or correcting stuff, but sometimes it can either be an essay or an essay plan, so it's really varied. So I actually want to do an undergraduate in English literature and Spanish, so I'm definitely carrying on my love for literature. Just do it, and especially don't be scared to bring your ideas to the table. I know it can be a bit awkward at first, speaking in front of a class of people you've never met before, but once you break the ice, it's really fun to hear other people's ideas.